research and testing outcomes, it doesn't have to be a primary determinant. It often is, but it doesn't have to be. And that involves something that these standards will never address. And that involves things that isn't even on the table for the task force to look at. And with that, I will be quiet. And thank you. I hope I have an opportunity for a written testimony.
Thank you, Barbara. And please,
Madam Chair.
Please, just a moment, Andrew. Please send your written testimony to my office, and we'll make sure that we'll put it on basis.
Thank you very much.
And during public testimony, Mr. Halgrove, we'll let you have your comments when we do our comments, if you don't mind waiting.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you so much.
The answer because she mentioned me.
Right. No, I knew that was coming. By the way, that being said, let's do it when we do our comments. Do we have anybody else online that would like to comment under our public testimony? I certainly don't have anybody signed up. I know that we're scheduled to take public testimony from 5 till 6, and we'll certainly hang out until 6. We have some folks in the room, and what the heck. I do have one signed up, but there are other folks in the room we'd love to hear from as well. So, Susan, you're first up. And if you'll introduce yourself for the record.
Hi, I'm Susan Powger from Matsu, and I wanted to testify in regards to an item in House Bill 278. Matsu has the most charter schools per capita of any district in the state, so I just want to kind of preface this with that. We are not in Matsu against charter schools. In fact, we have quite a few charter schools, and we find that it's a great way to meet our parents' and our students' education needs. A lot of people have different ideas about how their children should learn, and really children all learn differently. So charter schools meet some of those needs of children and give parents a choice on how they educate their students. So along those lines, I wanted to address the Committee on Concerns of our board regarding charter school decisions. It seems that they no longer appear to rest with the local school board. In our local board policy, Matsu Borough School District Board Policy 6190, it is clearly stated that the board shall give appropriate consideration to any charter school petition in light of its overall effect on the district students and proposed school's ability to function effectively and meet its goals. That's what we have used to gauge if a charter school will meet needs. The board recognizes its fiduciary responsibility to safeguard the interests of its students and community in deciding whether to grant or deny charter school applications. As a board, we are tasked with providing programs that can demonstrate fiscal sustainability and ensure that risk is minimal. It appears that House Bill 278 has severely limited the decision-making of our board to use sustainability and risk as factors in deciding whether to approve a charter school. The language of the regulations truly puts an unfair burden on the school district. Please understand that our board is very serious about our fiduciary responsibility to our community. We are also very committed to local control, which brings me to one final observation. Our interpretation of the regulations regarding charter school application leads us to question whether or not there is an erosion of local control when it comes to accepting or denying charter school applications. It is our greatest hope that we are able to continue providing sustainable school choices to our community while maintaining our commitment to local control. We believe local control is consistent with the values of our state and our local Matsu community. Please don't use language from regulations that is contrary to the support of local school districts and the boards who have been elected to govern them. So thank you for your time.
And thank you, Susan. And Susan may have failed to mention that she's president of our Matsu School Board. So thank you, Susan. And we have a small group in here, and if there's anybody else that would like to step forward and give their opinion or public, as Rich Maurer would like to, please feel free. David Boyle. Please introduce yourself and who you may be with for the record, please. And thanks for stepping forward and we got an hour to spend here, so thank you.
Well, I won't quite take an
Oh, go ahead.
Go long.
Hail Mary pass.
Hail Mary pass. You got 1 hour.
You got an hour.
Jeez. I'm not a politician, so I'm not so sure I can talk that long.
Go ahead.
David Boyle, I'm with the Alaska Policy Forum, and I'm actually speaking as an individual. And I've really enjoyed some of the discussion today and some of the very probing questions. They've been really wonderful. As an aside, I was listening to the transportation conversation, and I drove a bus for one of the cruise lines here 2 summers, and you were all talking about some of the school buses here are going to have to be replaced because they're old. And then I look at myself and think, I guess I'm on target. But anyway, one of the buses I drove, by the way, had 93 million miles on it. No, I'm sorry, 1 million miles on it. 1 million miles on it when the cruise line bought the bus. And that was in 1993. And there's a little plaque on the bus. And that was one of the better buses, motor coaches. And it was very dependable. So those things will run and run if they're maintained well. Has nothing to do with the age of the bus. So take it, Deed, if you're listening, I hope you are, take it out of your regulation. And I don't know if it's in statute or not. Just make it a safe, reliable, and dependable operational requirement to deliver students. Anyway, with that being said, I know one of your topics has been tenure. Not a lot has been said about it. I know there's an RFP on the streets on tenure. And I glanced through it and noted that most of the RFP statement of work or RFP has to do with it's internally directed. In other words, it's directed at the workforce, and it's not focused at all on the students. And that's everything you do in education should be focused on the customer and the students. And that's where I think maybe the RFP should be changed a little bit, the wording, and focus on the students. Because we all agree that an effective teacher in every classroom is the most important thing to student achievement. And as a matter of fact, if you probably heard about the Vergara decision in Los Angeles this last June, where 5 low-income students filed a class action suit against the state of California and 5 of their statutes regarding tenure. And just as a little bit aside, I'll read a couple of excerpts from there. They're not too long. The plaintiffs claim that the challenge statutes result in grossly ineffective teachers obtaining and retaining permanent employment, and that these teachers are disproportionately situated in schools serving predominantly low-income and minority students. The plaintiffs' equal protection claims assert that the challenge statutes violate their fundamental rights to equality of education by adversely affecting the quality of the education they are afforded by the state. So this might answer one of the members' questions, concerns on socioeconomic basis. Evidence has been elicited in this trial of the specific effect of grossly ineffective teachers on students. The evidence is compelling. Indeed, it shocks the conscience. Based on a massive study, Dr. Chetty testified that a single year in a classroom with a grossly ineffective teacher costs students $1.4 million in lifetime earnings per classroom. Based on a 4-year study, Dr. Kane testified that students in the LA School District who are taught by a teacher in the bottom 5% of competence lose 9.54 months of learning in a single year compared to students with average teachers. Substantial evidence presented makes it clear to this court that the challenge statutes disproportionately affect poor and or minority students, as set forth in the exhibit. Unfortunately, the most vulnerable students, those attending high poverty, low-performing schools, are far more likely than their wealthier peers to attend schools having a disproportionate number of underqualified, inexperienced, out-of-field, and ineffective teachers and administrators. Because minority children disproportionately attend such schools, minority students bear the brunt of staffing inequalities. And here's the conclusion, very short and simple. All challenge statutes are found unconstitutional for the reasons set forth herein above, and all injunctions are ordered to stay pending review. We have some great teachers, we have some excellent teachers, and we have some good teachers. just like any workforce, we